We got to figure the Blazers' D on dribble penetration is going to get better, and Sydney clearly is going to cool down from the field.
You would expect so, but stranger things have happened.
Eddy throws one out at De Leon, and there's the size of Martin Eddy. And we talked about him getting an opportunity with Julian Kazoo out. Look at this quick reaction, just goes right upstairs and throws it out. Golding rims out. Hudson on the offensive glass, and just as we praise him, he allows Will Hudson position to grab an offensive rebound and an easy two. Bose at the three-point line finds Dan. He gives it up quick but misses the layup.
Gotta make those, Steve.
Golding to Worthington, extra pass to De Leon in rhythm. Off the mark, Ratch loses the jumping contest to Will Hudson. Will Hudson active once again on the offensive glass.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, Steve, the way Will Hudson kept that alive, you know, first of all, he almost tipped it in. Secondly, he kept it alive to the point that it forced the Sydney Kings mistake. And he's really, I've been impressed by Will Hudson the last couple of weeks. He's giving them what they need right now.
Worthington just inside the three-point line. It's good. We're all tied up at 24. Martin just cuts through the defense. That'll count. Basket good. Graham Dan, Luke Martin just cutting through that extended pressure like a hot knife through butter.
Well, here we go, guys. Joey Wright will be really disappointed. First of all, Adam Gibson was on the wrong side of Graham Dan. No use being behind him on the break. You've got to get basket side, have the player outside, and none of that happened. Fortunately for the Blaze, Graham Dan shooting at a percentage I don't even know how to say right now from the line, and has not made them pay on a couple of occasions, but did make the layup.
Gold Coast beat the pressure of the Sydney Kings and Chris Golding. Sydney got to be aware, do not want to get in an up and down game with the Blaze. Just don't have the depth.
This ball-carrying matchup's really interesting, Steve, because two very small players in Luke Martin and Adrice De Leon really battling it out in terms of advancing the ball.
Bose for three. Graham Dan on the glass. Gets it out to Ratch. Ratch just throws it to Gibson. Ratch is really struggling. Worthington at the three-point line. That'll count, and it'll be a foul on Martin Eddy. That's a huge turnover on the other end.
Absolutely, and there's been just, it's so close and yet so far for the Kings. I mean, Graham Dan missed a point-blank one. Ratch just handed the ball to Gibson, and he's going to have to come out of the game now. And then, you know, a huge three knocked down that we see here. Great skip pass. Worthington hits it, and Martin Eddy just makes a boneheaded play down there. I mean, it had no effect. It wasn't going to even help him get the ball if there was a rebound, and gives them another possession.
Now the Blaze have scored the last six. Crowd and the Blaze can sense a momentum swing and have the game turn in their favor. De Leon does all he can not to travel. Will Hudson with the baseline jumper, no good. Kings dodge a bullet.
Wow. That's you know, the one thing that the coaching staff right now for the Gold Coast Blaze, Steve, Joey Wright, Ronnie Ratliff and co, would be really disappointed about is they're letting Luke Martin get ahead of the defender, and they're coming at him from behind. They just can't do that. And we've got another turnover here.
Graham Dan with an elbow. Just looked like an armbar to me.
It's tough. I mean, when things are not rolling your way, they're not rolling your way.
Yeah, they are not rolling the way of the Sydney Kings. That's their 8th turnover, but Stephen Orr got a weak one on the other end. So you got to just roll with how the game is being played. Blaze on top, 30-26. They've scored the last 6, and we'll be back.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Goal after goal after goal. It's football perfection.
We're playing at a completely different level here.
Welcome back. We're on the Gold Coast. Shane Heel talking to his troops. I caught up with him before the game, and when we're in commentary, we would mention how teams weren't prepared for the Gold Coast pressure, and I asked him what he did to prepare for that challenge tonight.
I mean, we've done a whole lot of preparation. Obviously, Blaze play a certain style, and they try and bully you out of their, out of your style and deny the lanes and everything else. So, we'll have a lot of things going through the post and dribble entries, and, our press break has to be on song because we didn't handle that well the other day. And, we watched a lot of video, and I think we'll be ready to go.
Well, the pressure has been there by the Gold Coast Blaze. Kings have countered with some pretty good basketball, but last couple of possessions, the cracks are starting to show for Sydney. Worthington on a good drive, and it's Hudson on the offensive glass. Eventually, Graham Dan gets it. Kings got numbers if they kick it up. Imagine just hands it right to Adam Gibson. That's just so tentative.
These short, sort of hesitant bounce passes that they're looking at making. We see one here by Magin. If you're going to make a pass, put your body into it. Ratch did the same thing right in front of the Sydney Kings bench. You'd rather go down swinging with the pass going somewhere near the hoop, but to just give the ball up meekly like that is really hurting them. And I think a guy like Shane Heel, Steve, you know him better than most, but this will be hurting him because to just watch them give the thing away instead of having a crack at it, will not be what he's interested in.
Jeff, any pass that you throw where your butt is sticking out, that means you're not leaning into your pass.
Absolutely. It's tentative, and it allows everyone to know it's coming, just not working for them, that pass.
De Leon with some sweet handle, and he slows it down. Shot clock down to 7. Worthington gets a good look at the three-point line. He's off the mark. Edie with the board. He needs to keep playing like that.
Yeah, he's done some good things. He's done some good things. He's done some silly things, but they need his size. They need his boards.
Bose continues to get towards the basket. Makes a tough shot look easy for the baseline.
You're definitely looking at the Rookie of the Year there, Steve. He's been very, very good for a first-year player.
Golding comes up short on his shot.
Wow, that was a hit. Ben Magin's going to feel that for a while. He pulls the ball down, and Worthington's a solid unit, let me tell you. He's deceptively big, and Magin would have felt every part of him there.
You get the feeling that Mark Worthington doesn't feel like he's involved in the game enough if he doesn't have any fouls.
He likes to...
he didn't disguise that one.
Fill up the columns.
Cooper to Edie. Edie to Magin. To Dan. He's got head and shoulders in front of Gibson. Misses a layup. Edie. He's off the mark. Not even close. Will Hudson with the defensive rebound. That was an ugly possession for Sydney.
And another foul early. Now this is going to be on the Kings off the ball. And Steve, this is 14 fouls rather for the Sydney Kings. So we've got 6 minutes of bonus time for the Blaze. And if you remember what happened last quarter, they really looked to exploit that and pump it inside. So let's see whether that's what they do again on this in this stretch.
Anytime you wrap both arms around a player, you're going to get called for a foul as Adam Gibson on the baseline out of bounds, which has given Sydney the blues at the moment. Whether it's a layup or a wide open shot like that, Magin brings it up against the pressure of De Leon.
Jason Cadee now ball hawking up top with Adam Gibson as well, Steve, as well as De Leon playing sort of second line back, and that's a nightmare for ball handlers. They've gone small. Hudson and effectively 3 guards and a forward in Petrie.
This game is looking like it could possibly get blown out as Sydney shoots a shot. Magin is short. Graham Dan should be going to the line. He goes to the glass. Just get the feeling the Blaze are turning up the heat on the defense, and Sydney's having trouble getting leads. Sydney's having trouble getting a rebound. Sydney's having trouble screening people out.
And now that Sydney Kings field goal percentage has come down to a very human 54% as opposed to an absolutely out of this world 80% for the first half of the first quarter, things are really sort of coming back to the fore.
Idris De Leon has not only been getting it done on the floor this year, he is an exciting player and a personality that we caught a little bit of in the change room before the game. And check this out. He's getting in the flow. His teammates, you know, they have to put up with this every single game. And of course, look at that. And it's not all in English. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of it is.
Well, he's enjoying it, and that's the main thing, Steve. And whatever it takes to get pumped up. I remember in my Geelong Supercats days a long time ago when I was on the coaching staff there, Simon Curl had some amazing pre-game routines. He tried just about everything, and likewise when he was injured, he had so many different techniques that he'd try to get back. And different players try different things, but as you well know, they're creatures of habit. And if you saw Idris De Leon do that tonight, the fellas in the locker room have probably seen him do that 22, 23 times so far this year.
Especially when he plays well after he has a little bit of a routine. But speaking of Simon Curl, I remember watching a game when he played for Geelong, and he had 49, and he missed a free throw to have 50. He was unstoppable. He was backing Damian Keogh down, and if you sent a double, he'd find somebody for a layup. If you didn't, he'd score.
He was among really the purest of shooters when his shot was on song. It was a very, very compact shot. And Graham Dan, Steve, could you just have a look at the stats on his free throws, because this is getting beyond a joke.
He's going to make this one.
He almost made it.
He's 0 for 5 from the foul line.
And missed a couple in that last game towards the end of the game. So he's on some sort of tear that he doesn't want to be.
Well, he started off the game, hit a couple, and then I guess he started thinking about it. And it's such a mental aspect as Tommy Garlip just throws Anatoly Bose out of the way. He's looking down the bench, seeing who he can put in for him.
He's looking for the Garlip replacement as we speak, and gives him a second chance. Leaves him in there for a moment, but they'll be equally frustrated right now, the Gold Coast, Steve, because as you pointed out, they feel like they should be breaking this one open, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Bose catch and shoot on a pass from Magin. Kings make the Gold Coast pay with their pressure up the court.
Well, he's got a third of their points, or more than that now, Steve. 11 of their 31, the rookie, playing a heck of a game.
Garlip, they try and throw over the top of Bose on a little touch pass. And the Blaze turn it over. Cooper. He slows it down. He wants the tempo. A little slower for Sydney with this lineup. Bose down low. He wants to post up Gibson. Magin with a good look at the three-point line is long. He runs it down. Sydney will have another crack on this possession. Down one after that Anatoly Bose three. Cooper to Gines. Gines to Bose.
Good D by Gibson.
He shoots the three.
Great D by Gibson on the ball, wasn't it? Stayed with him.
Petrie forces the contact.
Steve, the one thing that Shane Heal was saying to you before the game, as we see Petrie on the layup getting fouled, was that he doesn't want Bose to fall in love with that three-point shot too much. Not because he can't shoot it, because we've seen that he clearly can, but he's got a lot of other weaponry there. He's got a lot of different weapons at his disposal, and so to just settle for the three sometimes will hurt the offensive structure of the Kings. They're going to need Bose to give them an offensive target inside tonight as well as outside.
He's going to breathe a sigh of relief now that Adam Gibson is sitting on the bench, because he was giving him no space.
Yeah, Gibson didn't fall for anything that Bose threw at him at that shot position, at that triple threat position, and Bose is going to need to just go ahead and take him on sometimes and show him that he's not going to settle for that.
Because he's quicker and he's just as strong. So that's a good matchup for both teams. Very even. Grant losing his balance, goes upstairs. Man, he is impressive tonight. Had a quick start, and now Jere Grant has 9 to go with his 3 rebounds. Sydney just hanging in there. Bowling traveled. It just looked awkward.
Right now, Steve, you're seeing the Gold Coast Blaze give the Sydney Kings every reason to believe that they can stick with them because they're just making mistakes when they shouldn't. They're taking some bad shots as well. And the lead. Got the lead.
Imagine with the floater. Now, it doesn't look pretty how they're beating the pressure, but it's been effective. And the Gold Coast Blaze so good at just wearing you down over 40 minutes. Kadee with a tough shot. That's off the mark. So a turnover and then an off-balance shot. Imagine with a pull-up in the break. Grant with the offensive rebound gets it to Bowes with a good look on the three-point line. Gines runs it down. Sydney pulling down a couple of offensive rebounds. Had a couple of shots just rim out. Cooper, shot clock down to 9. Imagine to Grant on the mismatch. Imagine, it's straight, wow. It's good. Big bucket had a foot on the line. It only counts for 2. Kings up by 3. Kings on a 6-0 run.
Steve, 22-13 is the rebound count the way of the Kings, despite their smaller lineup with Kazoo out.
Kadee with a 3. That rims out. Bowes to Magin. He turns the corner, reach from behind. Oh my, that is always called. Man.
Well, I think they missed one there. That clearly looked like it was either a foul on the wraparound sort of hack, or at the very least, perhaps off of the Gold Coast Blaze players there. I don't see how that didn't stay with the Kings.
The reach from behind. You know, we've seen that a number of times, whether you get it clean or not, especially when you're out of position.
Yeah. Well, that's why, you know, going back a long, long way here, that's why I liked the force-out rule back in the day, which they never really had as a part of the game here, I don't think. It was more of a gentleman's agreement here that if you had that type of play, it was going to stay with the team. It's like you've either got to call a foul there, or you just say it's out off the Gold Coast Blaze. And that was a missed call there.
Wow. You know, I'm not speechless too often, but man, it happened right in front of him.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
What you want is something to be called consistently. Yeah. You know, any night, that is either they're just going to say, is that a foul, or you give them
Do you want the foul? Do you want the foul, or are we going to say it's off the Blaze? You know that? Anyway, they missed one, and the referee's trying to explain it to Magin there. It's a tough one because there's crucial points in the game, obviously, and I think LeBron James made a great point in the NBA the other night in the post-game press conference. Every basket actually counts the same. Every play actually counts the same. We always think of them later on, and we think of them down the wire. But right now for the Kings, this is really an important time. They've edged their way ahead, and they want every chance to keep that going. And we see the stats, Steve. The Kings have got 22 in the paint to the Blaze 10. That's quite amazing right now.
Especially without Julian Kazoo in the lineup, and that's where normally get all of their points in the paint. De Leon with some good hands by Worthington. Worthington has to get one up. Shot clock expires, and that'll be a violation.
They just look jaded right now, the Blaze. They look like maybe the fatigue is there mentally, you know, probably a little bit physically too. But last night's game, they need to understand that was last night. But right now, they're getting beaten on their own floor by the Sydney Kings, who are outplaying them, who are out hustling them, outscoring them in the paint.
Grant looking for Bowes down low. Now he's looking for anybody. Gines backs down the smaller Gibson, and he gets it up in the air. And Adam Gibson, they throw him on anybody.
They do. We talked about this last week too, Steve, during the Wollongong game. They actually back Adam Gibson to be able to defend the post, and they like throwing that look occasionally because it allows them to, you know, have other matchups going their way. But you know, this year in particular, I think it hasn't gone quite as well for them as perhaps in days past. And I know in the Bullets days there was times that Gibson was really, really tough to score on. Now, as we see Gines hit the first free throw and extend the lead to 4, Gibson, I think, is bailing the players out just at the very end of the sequence in the post. getting his hands in there just a little bit.
Shane Heal likes Johns. He knocks both free throws down, and he's a strong believer, and you got to have that really tough guy. You got to have a Jason Smith. You got to have a Mika Bacona. You got to have that guy that's going to go out there and just do whatever it takes. And Johns can score, too.
I think you're right. I think you look at the composition of most really good teams, and certainly championship teams, you have that player. You know, we see an offensive foul called on Anthony Petrie, just really lowering the shoulder there and getting rid of the defender. The replay shows that it was really when he went down low and pushed him that they were going to call that.
Yeah, it was like he was off balance and then continued on with that forward motion. Giants did a good job of sliding his feet, though, to get himself in position to get that call.
You see Graham Dan checking back in for Giants. He's going to get a pretty good level of affirmation as he goes to the bench because he's been very good again. You know, Giants has given them something really out of nothing. Nobody was even thinking of this guy a couple of weeks ago. So it's been quite a story. He's worked his way into the rotation.
Madgen slowly brings it up. Joey Wright trying to keep fresh bodies out there. Trying to get a lineup out there that can put some pressure on Sydney. Will Hudson on the glass again. Less than a minute to go. Worthington exploring. Gets into the body of Martin Itty.
I think the upside that you've always got with a Mark Worthington, Steve, is that you get a percentage play and you get a head that actually has been around long enough to know what to do in this situation. You got less than a minute left, 50 seconds on the clock. You're down 5. Sydney's on somewhat of a roll. Let's go to the percentage play. Let's stop the clock. Let's get me to the line. Let's get a couple easy ones. Build a little bit of belief back into the team that offensively we can do something.
But in that plan, he probably was thinking he'd make the free throws.
Yes, the plan breaks down horribly when he goes to the line and misses.
You're dead right about that. You could just see it calculating, too, as he was exploring on the break, just trying to make something happen. Worthington will come out, as we have seen everybody except for Zach Carter come into the game. For the Blaze, Madgen brings it up quickly and gets it to Luke Cooper. Go for a little 2-for-1 action. Madgen pulls up, going right. He is capable of hitting that shot. Shane Heal loves it when he goes right for those pull-ups. He just floated out of bounds on that one. He is in the flow.
Great touch, doesn't he? Just the way he delivers that ball out of the hands. You know, it just looks good. It looks like it's got a chance every time he shoots it.
Golding returns the favor on the other end. Madgen's doing it all. Wow, that was a pass that could have been picked off by Kadee. Backdoor Madgen gets the score. And Madgen on fire. 12 points on 14 points on 7 of 13 shooting. Sydney Kings